I call the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, I don't intend, as the National Party is filibustering this bill. We intend to facilitate its passage rapidly because we do support it. It does make a number of technical changes which we support to the prudential and regulatory framework governing the insurance sector. I just want to simply touch on 2 points. One, I want to reinforce what Mr Parker said in respect of outstanding business in terms of the Reserve Bank contemplating increasing the prudential requirements on the insurance sector from 500 to 1,000 years. Mr Parker did make a good point. If that translates to increased cost and increased premium, despite the Canterbury earthquakes, you could have a bizarre situation where, yes, prudentially the insurance companies, the requirements are increased. However, it's too tough for people to get insurance or the appropriate level of insurance, and pending, God forbid, we have another disaster like Christchurch, we're in a situation under insurance. The final thing I want to say is this. Though we support this bill as a Canterbury MP, I just want to say this to the insurance industry, that it is appropriate that we protect and ensure that that sector has an appropriate regulatory framework. But I bring this message to that insurance sector from the people of Christchurch and other places, that there is an expectation when, as Kiwis who have paid insurance premiums all our lives collectively, none of us up until the Canterbury earthquake, I really thought that we would ever make a call on that insurance unless Johnny throws the cricket ball through the window, as it were, or in a minor way, that there is a great, almost loathing to some extent of that sector, and the inability of that sector to appropriate and swiftly, at a high degree of frequency, pay out. Now, I accept that the Canterbury earthquake is an extremely complicated matter. There are a number of strands which have to be resolved, but for Mr and Mrs Cantabrians sitting in their munted house 3 years after the event, having paid insurance premiums all their lives, having the insurer ring them up if they're a day late or a week short or whatever, and making damn sure they pay, they expect that insurance companies will pay up in the appropriate time. In most people, if not all people's policies, it says words to the effect that insurers should settle in a reasonable period of time. And I do note that the Prime Minister of Australia, when he was first Prime Minister and they had the Queensland floods, came over to Christchurch. In fact, Labor members met with him and we asked him, is he having the same difficulty with insurers that we are having in terms of getting them to write cheques so people can get on with their lives? He said, in effect, yes. We asked him what he planned to do, what he did about it, and he basically said to us he called the insurers into his office, read the Riot Act and threatened to regulate them if they didn't start paying out. They reached, as I understand it, some sort of voluntary time frame. I know this doesn't affect Mr Hayes, voluntary time frame, and 12 months later you had new houses being built up further up the hill outside in Queensland, outside the flood-prone areas. We, sir, today have people longing to get on with their lives, charitable organisations in Christchurch which cannot move along and are now having to spend many of the charitable dollars they ordinarily would not on overhead like rent on buildings, because the insurance company, week after week and year after year, and engineering report after engineering report, will not settle. And likewise with individual Cantabrians and others. So I just conclude, sir, by saying it is noteworthy that this bill looks to protect the regulatory and enhance the regulatory and prudential framework of the insurance sector. But I say to the insurance sector that many in this Parliament and many New Zealanders around the country demand that they do their bit, and when the chips are down and people have paid and they need their lives put back together, that insurance companies pay out and pay out swiftly.
I call the Honourable Member Julianne Genta.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Tēnā koe. I rise to speak on the third and last reading of the